Hey everyone. I never thought I'd be writing one of these. I've lurked here for years, reading stories, shaking my head, thinking, damn, I'd never let that happen to me. But here I am, the idiot with a broken heart and a tux that was never worn. I, 32M, was supposed to marry my fiancée, 30F, last weekend. We'd been together for 4 years. On paper, everything looked great: steady jobs, shared goals, decent communication, or so I thought. She was charming, maybe a little too much, and beautiful in that way that turns heads in restaurants. You know the type, she walks into a room and people notice. I used to be proud of that. Now I just feel sick. The first real red flag came the night before the wedding. She suggested we spend the night apart, to make the wedding feel more magical. I didn't think much of it at the time, lots of couples do that. Plus, she was always big on traditions. So, I stayed with my brother at his place. We had a couple beers, laughed about the bachelor party, all that. The next morning, I realized I'd left my tie, the one her dad gave me, back at our place. She wasn't supposed to be there. Said she'd be staying with her maid of honor, Lucy. Well, turns out she lied. I unlocked the door quietly, out of habit, expecting to just grab the tie and go. Instead, I walked straight into a nightmare. The living room was a mess: wineglasses, heels, her dress laid across the couch. Then I heard a laugh. A male laugh. At first, I thought maybe Lucy brought someone over and they crashed there instead. But no. That wasn't Lucy's voice. And what I saw when I pushed open our bedroom door. Yeah. I'll save that part for the next post. I'm still trying to unsee it. So yeah. I opened the door. And what do I see? My bride-to-be, my fiancée, was in bed, our bed, with some guy I'd never seen in my life. They were both naked. Her hair was a mess, her makeup smudged, and she had this smug, lazy smile like nothing mattered. The guy? Mid-30s, tatted up, smug as hell. Looked right at me and said, "Yo, you must be the roommate." I swear to God, I almost blacked out from rage. And she had the audacity to look surprised, then annoyed. Not guilty. Not scared. Annoyed. Like I was the one ruining her day. She threw the blanket over herself and snapped, "You weren't supposed to be here." Right. Because I was the one breaking the rules. I just stood there like an idiot, holding that damn tie in my hand, heart pounding, vision going white. I remember asking, "Who is this?" and she said, "I swear this is real, it's not what it looks like." I actually laughed. A bitter, cracked laugh. Because what the hell else could it be? She scrambled out of bed, grabbing her robe and rushing over to me like suddenly she cared. She kept saying it was a mistake, that it didn't mean anything, and that she freaked out about the wedding. Her favorite line? It was just cold feet, I needed to feel wanted. Oh, and here's the kicker, she claimed it was her last chance to be wild before settling down. Like this was some kind of bachelorette gift to herself. Unbelievable. Meanwhile, the dude just started getting dressed, looking completely unfazed, like this wasn't his first time crashing someone's engagement. He walked past me and said, "My bad, bro," and walked out. I didn't even stop him. I couldn't. I was frozen. Hurt. Furious. And suddenly, very, very awake. After the guy left, didn't even have the decency to look embarrassed, I just stood there while she kept rambling. She was crying now. Not because she was sorry, but because she got caught. Her robe barely stayed on as she paced around the room, throwing out the same recycled garbage. I don't know what came over me, I was drunk, it was a mistake. I asked her point blank, "How long has this been going on?" She hesitated. That 1 second of silence told me everything I needed to know. Then came the lie, "Just tonight." I swear. I've never done anything like this before. Yeah. Right. I asked her how she even knew this guy. She claimed she met him through a friend and ran into him at the bar with her maid of honor, Lucy. Funny, because Lucy was texting me an hour earlier saying she was homesick. Lie. Number 2. I called her out, and instead of owning up to it, she flipped the script. Started accusing me of snooping, of not trusting her, of ruining everything we've built over one mistake. You ever have someone cheat on you and then act like you're the problem? That's a whole different kind of rage. I wasn't yelling. I wasn't throwing things. I was calm. Too calm. I just kept asking questions, and she kept spinning stories. And the more she lied, the more I realized I didn't recognize the person standing in front of me. This wasn't nerves. This wasn't one mistake. This was calculated. She thought I'd be out. She made sure I wouldn't be there. And she was comfortable enough to bring this dude into our bed the day before our wedding. That's not fear. That's not panic. That's entitlement. After she finished her half-assed excuses, she tried to come in close. Said we could talk about this rationally. Like it was a scheduling issue or something. Like catching her cheating in our bed less than 24 hours before saying I do was something we could negotiate. She touched my arm. I pulled away. Her face fell. Then she said the most manipulative thing I've ever heard. Are you really going to throw away everything we've planned over one night? One night? Lady, you threw it away when you threw your legs up for a stranger. I told her I wasn't making any decisions right then. I needed time. I needed space. Her tone instantly shifted. She went from remorseful to hostile in a heartbeat. Fine, she snapped, but don't expect me to wait around while you sulk. Wait around? You mean like how I waited through all the fake girls' nights, the weird text messages she never let me see, the dead phone battery excuses at 1 a.m.? I left. I couldn't even grab anything else from the apartment. Just took the tie, the keys to my car, and walked out the door. She didn't follow me. Instead, she sent a text 10 minutes later that said, I still love you. Can we please talk before the ceremony? The ceremony. She still thought the wedding was going to happen. Like we could just slap a band-aid on betrayal and serve cake. That was the moment it really hit me. I was marrying someone who could lie that easily, that often, and not even feel bad about it. I didn't sleep that night. Just sat in my car outside my buddy Eric's place, staring at the dashboard, heart pounding like a war drum in my chest. The reality of it all kept hitting me in waves. 1 second I'd be angry, wanting to storm back and scream. The next, I'd feel this crushing sadness. Like mourning someone who hadn't even died. At some point, Eric came outside in his boxers with a confused look, saw my face, and just said, "What happened?" I told him everything. And God bless that man, he didn't say "I told you so," even though he definitely could have. He just let me crash on his couch and stayed quiet, like real friends do. The next morning, the day of the wedding, my phone was a minefield. Missed calls. Voicemails. Messages from her, her mom, my mom, her bridesmaids, the venue, the officiant, you name it. But one message stood out, a photo. It was her, in the dress. Crying. Smudged makeup. Alone in the bridal suite. Caption. Please don't do this. I love you. We can get past this. I almost pitied her. Almost. But then my brain reminded me, she wasn't crying last night when that guy had his hands all over her in our bed. No. She was smiling then. That wasn't love. That was guilt, fear, and damage control. The wedding didn't happen. I sent a message to the group chat of guests saying it was cancelled due to unforeseen circumstances and that I'd explain soon. I didn't owe them details. But I did owe myself some damn dignity. By midday, the fallout had officially begun. Her mom called me sobbing, begging me to reconsider. She made a mistake, she said. Everyone gets cold feet. Don't throw your future away because of one stupid night. It blew my mind how quickly the narrative shifted from what she did to how I was reacting to it. Like my pain was an inconvenience to their plans. Then came the real kicker. She went on social media and posted a black and white photo of us holding hands at our engagement shoot with the caption, Sometimes love isn't enough. Broken heart, please respect our privacy during this difficult time. What privacy? You invited a random guy into our bed and got caught. Now I'm the bad guy for calling off the wedding? Friends started messaging me. A few were supportive, but some didn't even ask what happened, just guilt-tripped me about ghosting on my wedding day. One even said, "You embarrassed her in front of everyone." I was floored. Embarrassed her? What about me? The guy who was planning to say vows, only to discover the woman he loved was hooking up with someone the night before in the same bed where we made our wedding playlist? But it wasn't just the emotional betrayal. There were logistics to deal with. Vendors. Deposits. Decorations. Honeymoon reservations. It all had to be untangled, like cutting wires on a ticking bomb. And through it all, she kept texting. Long paragraphs. Short apologies. Even voice notes where she cried and said, "You're overreacting." That one got deleted immediately. After a few days of silence, I started getting screenshots. One of her friends, someone I barely knew, but who clearly had a conscience, sent me messages from their group chat. Apparently, she had been talking to this guy for weeks before the wedding. Not just talking. Sexting. Flirting. Planning when they could sneak away. And get this, the guy wasn't just some random stranger. He was a cop she met at her bachelorette party. He and his buddies were off duty and hanging around the bar where her party ended. She told me the party was low-key and they just drank wine at her best friend's place. Nope. Turns out they went out after, which she never mentioned, and that's where she met him. And then, they kept texting. One thing led to another, and boom, he ends up in our apartment the night before our wedding. I confronted her again over the phone this time. I asked about the cop. Her voice cracked. I didn't think it would matter. I was scared of commitment, I just needed a distraction. Needed a distraction? I was about to commit my entire life to her. And she was out sampling guys in uniform because she was nervous? She kept trying to twist it. Said it was a mistake, a cry for help, that she didn't think I'd find out and that made it less real. Her exact words. That's when I realized, she wasn't sorry she did it. She was sorry I caught her. That realization burned more than anything. After that phone call, I finally blocked her. It felt weirdly final, like hitting end on a call with your past. But it also felt necessary. I couldn't keep listening to her flip the story into something I needed to understand. And just when I thought I'd processed the worst of it, the real curveball came. A week later, guess who slid into my DMs? The cop. No, seriously. He found me on Instagram and messaged me something like, "Hey man, didn't know she was engaged. Sorry for the drama. She said you two were on a break. Hope you're doing okay." On a break? I nearly dropped my phone. We were literally getting married the next morning. There were no breaks. No fights. No separation. Just a lying fiancé with no conscience and a badge chaser complex. But now I had proof from both sides that she was full of it. She lied to me and to him. She manipulated both of us to get whatever she wanted in the moment. I didn't even respond to him. What was I going to say? Thanks for banging my bride-to-be and letting me know? Instead, I called her maid of honor, someone I trusted more than anyone on her side. I asked if she knew. Her pause told me everything. I didn't know for sure. But I had suspicions. I didn't think she'd go through with it. Go through with it. As in, cheat the night before our wedding and still say I do the next day like nothing ever happened. I honestly think she would've. If I hadn't forgotten my tie, I might be married to someone who lied to my face with a white dress and a straight smile. The days that followed were brutal. There was no ceremony to attend, but the pain still felt like a funeral. I had to call up relatives who'd flown in, cancel the honeymoon flights, deal with vendors who weren't giving full refunds. Each email was a fresh punch to the gut. But what really stung was the silence from people I thought were my friends. Some didn't reach out at all. Others said things like, "Man, that sucks. But maybe you guys can work through it?" Work through it? She had another man in our bed the night before our wedding. That's not something you work through, that's something you run from. My family, bless them, stood by me. My sister actually showed up with garbage bags to help me pack up the apartment. We moved everything that was mine out of there in 2 hours flat. It felt cold and mechanical, but it helped. Motion helped. Doing something helped. Meanwhile, my now ex-fiancée, yeah, let's call her what she is, was still trying to do damage control, mostly on social media. Her posts got progressively more dramatic. People will twist your story just to make themselves look better. I made a mistake, but I'm not evil. He was never perfect either. Classic Darvo, deny, attack, reverse victim and offender. She even sent her brother to talk to me. Her brother. A guy I barely got along with, suddenly acting like a marriage counselor. You know, bro, marriage is tough. Maybe this is just a test. A test? What kind of test involves another guy's uniform on your bedroom floor? Nah. I was done. I wasn't going to let guilt, or pressure, or the sunk cost of time and money push me into a lifetime of second-guessing someone who clearly didn't respect me in the first place. It's been a few months now. Some days I wake up and feel completely free. Other days I feel like a fool for ever loving her. I cycle between anger and relief, shame and gratitude. It's weird, you can mourn the loss of someone you now know never really existed. The woman I was going to marry? She was a fantasy. A projection. The real her was behind a mask, lying with every smile, every I love you, even while texting another man under the table. I got lucky. Yeah, I said it, lucky. Because I saw who she really was before I signed my life away. Before I bought a house with her. Before we had kids. Before the lies buried me deeper than I could climb out. And to anyone reading this who's going through something similar, who has that gut feeling something's wrong, who's being gaslit or brushed off, please don't ignore it. Trust your instincts. You are not crazy for questioning inconsistencies. You are not paranoid for wondering why your partner suddenly has all these late nights and emergencies. You are not weak for walking away. You're strong for choosing your own dignity. I used to think cheating was just about sex. It's not. It's about betrayal. Disrespect. The erosion of everything you thought was solid. But you can rebuild. And you will. I've started therapy. Reconnected with old friends. Traveled a bit. Learned how to be by myself, and honestly, I like the guy I'm becoming. No more lies. No more faking it to protect someone who wouldn't do the same for me. So yeah, I dodged a bullet. The best tie I ever forgot? The one that saved me from marrying the wrong person.